what was it like making the switch to the bullpen? Okay, that's a good question. So, yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, quick recap. I was a starter. I got drafted as a starter out of high school. I started in 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013. And I was always my dad jokes about how like he raised me to be a starter because he loved watching the starters, like 5-day routine, thought that was just like the life. And I love starting. That's a different question for a different time. But the switch to the bullpen, I will say it was not as hard as everyone makes it in regards to when you go out there, it's the same game, right? Like you're still working your tail off to execute pitches and get the guy that's in the box out, right? Like that part doesn't change. I think oftentimes we, as pitchers, tend to overcomplicate things like, oh, I'm not going to be ready. Oh, I need to have a 62-minute routine and I need to do X amount of plyo reverse throws and this and that. Like I get it. Trust me, I'm the most routine individual in the world. But at the same time, dude, like when you go out there and you toe that rubber up and there's a dude in the box trying to defeat you, everything's thrown out the window anyways. Like the mission is still to get him out, and you're going to find a way to do that anyway, which you know how, right? So for me, I was one of those guys that was like, oh gosh, this is going to be crazy. I have a long routine. I have this and that. I usually do this and that on start day and this, and now I'm in the bullpen. I don't get to prepare. I don't know what my role is and so on and so forth. And then you kind of put a lot of unnecessary stress on that. And then as soon as you go out there and you toe the rubber up, it's like, oh, I'm just pitching. Oh, right. Now there's obviously different variables with the recovery and like when to throw a long toss and what to do. Like that was more of an adjustment than anything, trying to find that routine. But the switch to the bullpen, like I said, it was kind of overblown by my standards. I would say I really got acquainted to it later when I made the switch to late inning, 8th inning, 9th inning guy, because that was finally, for me, I felt like a very comfortable place there. Having the role, I can talk about this all day, how important it is to have a role in the bullpen and you can prepare accordingly. But for me, when I was known as, okay, 8th inning or hey, 9th inning today, like now that's where I'm like, let's go. Because I knew I was going out there for an inning and I was probably going to face 3 to 5 guys and I knew exactly how much I had in the tank and it was freaking go time, right? Like that's where I was pretty dang comfortable with everything. It's tough when you're a bullpen guy and you don't know a role. You could be the long inning guy that day. You could be the freaking, face of one guy that day guy. There's so many different roles there that it's tough when you don't really know that. So, so that's kind of what I have. It was the switch to the bullpen. Like I said, when push comes to shove, it's the same thing, same game, just get outs. Right? Doesn't matter if you're in there when the lights are on or you're in there when there's no lights on and no one's in the stands, right? Good.